My name is Sophia, and I am about to tell you a story that I probably should never share. I am a 45-year-old woman in the darkest period of my life. Years of marriage, followed by a divorce, led to those long months when I lost all faith in myself. The reflection in the mirror felt like a stranger. Standing in front of the mirror in my underwear, I would think, why would anyone desire you? The people who once told me I was beautiful had fallen silent. I had forgotten myself. Perhaps, thinking back, I had lost myself. I wasn't going out. Wealth had given me only a desolate corner of solitude. I would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and like our videos. Every click of yours is valuable to us as it gives us more motivation to continue sharing meaningful stories. If you like our content, we encourage you to share and leave questions below. Every interaction is a way to build a closer, more connected community. I invite you to stay with us until the end of the video. I am very grateful to you. Then came Slatter. No matter how much I tried to resist him, despite the 25 years between us, he somehow managed to reach the deepest parts of me. I could feel the warmth radiating from him. Before I knew it, I found myself in his arms, unable to resist the pull. When a new neighbor moved in, I had no idea that this young man would turn my life upside down. The first time I saw him, he was walking down the sidewalk wearing ripped jeans, a simple white t-shirt, and a smile that could light up any room. He was in his early 20s, full of life and carefree. I watched him from behind the curtains of my window, never imagining the whirlwind that was about to stir between us. It was Slatter who made the first move, but it wasn't your typical introduction. There was no polite hello, no tentative small talk. His approach was bold, direct, and occasionally cheeky in a way that made me both uneasy and intrigued. One morning, I opened the door to find him standing on my porch, a cup of coffee in hand, looking every bit the confident stranger. "Sophia," he said, his voice rich with self-assurance, "since this place seems so dull, I've decided to make it my mission to whisk you away from here." The confidence in his tone left me momentarily speechless. "I don't think we've met," I managed to say, trying to play it cool. But he just shrugged, that mischievous grin never leaving his face. "Well, everything has a beginning," he replied. "You could start by inviting me in for coffee. We'll discuss the rest in your bedroom." His boldness left me stunned. A mix of discomfort and curiosity settled in. Despite the growing temptation to entertain his audacity, I didn't invite him in. "Thank you," I said, trying to dismiss the situation. But before I could close the door, he spoke again. "Sophia," he said, his voice laced with challenge, "when was the last time you had an adventure?" He took a slow sip of his coffee, his eyes never leaving mine. "If you can't answer, then that's the problem." I tried to brush him off, but Slatter wasn't one to be easily dismissed. He wasn't one to take no for an answer, and soon he found more ways to challenge me. One day, while wandering through my garden, he caught me off guard again. "Sophia," he asked, his tone uncharacteristically serious, "when you look at these flowers, what do you see? Wilted leaves in need of care, or the splendor waiting for spring to awaken?" His words stirred something deep inside me, though they unsettled me just the same. "Slatter," I responded, a smirk playing on my lips. "People your age don't usually talk like this." But he leaned in closer, his eyes never leaving mine. "People my age usually talk nonsense, but I'd rather spend my time wisely with someone who's worth it." With each passing day, these conversations became more frequent, but what Slatter said was never mere flirtation. It was a deliberate effort to push me beyond the boundaries I had carefully constructed around myself. One evening, as we sat together on the porch, the soft rustling of leaves in the breeze punctuated the silence between us. After a while, he turned to me with a thoughtful expression and asked, "Sophia, why do you always seem to have everything under control? Have you ever tried letting go, truly losing yourself, I mean? Have you ever stripped away all the layers and swam in the sea at midnight, or been with the person your heart truly craved without hesitation?" I met his gaze, trying to read him, and replied, "Slatter, you're still young. There are things you simply don't understand. Losing control isn't always a good idea." I challenged him with my eyes, daring him to respond. But instead of backing down, he flashed that mischievous smile that always seemed to provoke me. "No, Sophia," he said, leaning in slightly. "I think the real issue is that you've never really found yourself. Maybe that's what I can help you with. Let me show you." His audacity stirred something inside me, a mix of anger and intrigue. His words were bold, and for reasons I couldn't quite explain, they unsettled me. The following day, he appeared at my porch again. This time, he claimed he needed advice about his new house. But I knew better. The conversation quickly veered toward familiar ground. "Sophia," he began, leaning closer across the table, his eyes scanning mine with unsettling clarity. "I see it in your eyes. There's still that fire, that passion of youth. But you've locked it away so tightly that you've forgotten where you hid the key." His words struck me deeply. A cocktail of embarrassment and irritation rose in my chest. With forced bravado, I responded, "Slatter, does this persistent act usually get you anywhere?" His smile was knowing, almost as though he'd been waiting for me to ask. "It's not persistence, Sophia," he said softly, his tone shifting to something deeper. "I'm just trying to show you the truth. I want to help you awaken the fire you've buried inside, the one you've forgotten about." And despite myself, his words began to break through the barriers I had built around myself. He had a way of seeing through me that no one else did. The next time he came by, I sat on my porch sipping tea, trying to maintain the calm I had so carefully crafted. He came closer, standing just at the edge of my space, his eyes intense and searching. "Sophia," he said, his voice low, almost a whisper, "if you trust me just this once and let go of all your reservations, I'll make you experience things you never even dreamed of." His words weren't merely an invitation, they were a challenge, and I could feel the weight of it in the air between us. For a moment, I hesitated, my heart racing with the uncertainty of it all. But in his eyes, I saw something raw, something honest. I knew that there was no turning back. The dangers of getting too close to him were clear, but the magnetic pull of those dangers was stronger. "All right, Slatter," I said, my voice barely more than a whisper. "What do you suggest?" At that moment, Slatter leaned in closer, his breath warm against my ear as he whispered, "Just go with the flow, Sophia. Control is your greatest enemy." His words echoed in my mind, and something inside me shifted that night.